My 32 husband 35 I has a YouTube channel with over 14k followers. He's been doing live streaming a lot lately even though I told him that we have responsibilities to take care of. Before our daughter, she's 7 months old, was born he'd stream randomly and spend a lot of time with his followers, answering questions and engaging in conversations. He keeps saying that his followers are good for his mental health and that engaging with them weekly makes him become better at socializing and communicating. He's been complaining about wanting to do a live stream for days. I told him we'd look at our schedule and see if we could get him some time to make it happen. Apparently, this wasn't good enough. Yesterday I had to go grocery shopping and asked him to keep an eye on our daughter while she was asleep. He said okay. I was gone for 4 hours but kept calling him to see if everything was okay. He'd tell me she was alright and that she was sleeping. I started getting this weird feeling something was wrong because she must have had been hungry or needed a diaper change. He argued that everything was fine. I immediately went home and when I entered the house I didn't find him. I shouted his name but got nothing. I went into the bedroom and saw that my daughter was awake and her diaper wasn't changed. And worse was that her bottle was even touched. I was confused. I got out and noticed that his office's door was closed. I figured he was doing a live streaming from the noise I heard. I was beyond seething. I barged into the office and saw him sitting. I blew up while he was trying to turn his mic off and telling me to stop, but I didn't stop. I berated him for leaving our daughter unattended and with no milk nor diaper change. He freaked out on me saying I just ended his entire channel and destroyed his fan base for interrupting his live stream and embarrassing and scandalizing him like that. I told him to not say a word but he kept yelling, calling me out of control and unhinged. He was almost crying so I had to leave the office. He kept fighting with me till I decided to go stay with my mom. He started blaming me for ignoring his needs after he already expressed them and that he forgot to do what I asked him and I'd cost him so much. Now us telling to come back home because he misses his daughter. Not the idiot. He neglected your child for hours. There is no way in hell that he should be left alone with any child since he wants to be a child himself. Your husband is an irresponsible idiot. There is a time for fun and games, but not while he is supposed to be a father. For once is not that time. It's called being a parent and growing up. Not the idiot. I'd like to find some glint of justification for what he did, but I can't. It doesn't matter how long he went without connecting with his followers and how much it was upsetting him. The fact is, he left his infant daughter without changing, without food and didn't even keep her in the same damn room as him. He literally just left her alone for 4 hours. That's just freaking negligence. He could have actually had her with him and looked after her while streaming. That is so possible for him. He needs to remember he is a freaking parent. Not the idiot. Your husband chose to neglect your daughter. He lied to you multiple times and even went so far as to make sure the door was closed so he couldn't hear anything. He forgot nothing. He just didn't want to act like a father. What if your daughter was having trouble breathing or died? What if the house was broken into? He wouldn't have heard a single thing. He put your child in serious danger and that is something you can't take lightly. If he can't be an adult and take care of his own child, then maybe it's better that he not be around her. She is starting to crawl and will walk soon, making what he did so much more dangerous. This isn't a one-time thing. Maybe finding a parenting class for him would be a good idea. Both of my kids work at the restaurant that I run, and have for the last few years. My son is 19 and my daughter is 17. Whereas my son will come in early, do the little extra things when nobody is looking and will just really put his nose to the grindstone. My daughter is not like that. There are problems that I was seeing, like texting when she was supposed to be working, showing up 30, 45 minutes late, etc., that I actually addressed with her myself. She told me she'd shape up. What I like to do is, a couple of times a year, meet with my staff, all one-on-one and just ask them if things are going well in their view, what needs to be changed, what issues, if any, need handling. It became glaring, after talking to everyone one-on-one, that my daughter was just not a team player, not very helpful, gave everyone an attitude, and unfortunately carried around this, as one of my staff called it, a princess attitude. I guess thinking she was Teflon because I'm the owner. Privately, I told my daughter that I loved her, but that I just couldn't run a business where one person is not willing to work as a part of the team. I let her go. When I got home, my wife was enraged and asked me how I could fire our little girl. I tried explaining that firing her wasn't something I liked doing, but when you have literally everyone else who works there telling me that she's lazy and acts entitled, I can't just keep her on. My wife says I'm the idiot for what I did. Am I the idiot? So not the idiot. Your daughter is a little princess because her mom enables her. What that means is that your wife isn't focused on your daughter's best interest. She's setting your daughter up for failure in life. You're right to maintain the same expectations of her as you do for other staff. Having her undermine the whole staff due to her entitlement is a serious risk to morale in the business. Talk to your wife and see if you can get on the same page. If not, put your foot down. By the sounds of it, you gave her fair warning she wasn't pulling her weight. This should be a valuable lesson. Just thinking from your wife's perspective, how clear were you that she was on thin ice and likely to get fired if she didn't improve? My only concern is that the original conversation might not have been clear as, being her father, you didn't want to upset her. Just a thought going forward, but I don't think you actually did anything wrong. Not the idiot. She will be okay. My dad fired me too. I was 14. He was not as nice as you. I wasn't that great either, but he told me if I can't come to work on time then I'm fired. I was late the third time and I was fired from cutting grass with my grandpa. It was my grandpa's business and dad was just helping out. I got rehired that if I was late 2 times I would be fired with no change of being hired again. By the way, I was fired for a year. I shaped up because they paid me more than any part-time job could. I, 31, am dating someone, 30, with 2 young kids. They currently live in another state and he only gets 4 weeks a year with them. This week marks the beginning of his first 2 weeks with them and that's great. Only they can't actually come home with us. Due to a BS situation, he is only allowed supervised visits, and his mom is the supervisor, meaning that the kids will stay with her. This is where my problems begin. Sometimes, I have to get up extremely early, for me, and go to bed early to get 8 hours. I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder a year ago and feel the most stable when I've had exactly 8 hours of sleep. He naturally wants to spend the most time with them as humanly possible, which I fully support, but it isn't without complications. Firstly, we carpool to work as we work at the same place and only have 1 car. So right after work, I am with him at his mom's house visiting the kids until he is ready to go. That's completely good with me, until it starts hitting 8 o'clock and I am tired. While planning the week, I told him that being home at 7:30 I felt was the most fair to me and the dogs, which would be sitting at home pooping on the floor otherwise. He has a solution to the dog problem that I hate, but it's less relevant. He told me that his kids come first. Again, that's great, but if I can't function then my job and our whole life is in jeopardy. His response to that is that I don't actually need that much sleep, and I obviously don't sacrifice for my own child if I am not willing to stay up for his kids. This situation is a deal breaker for him. If I don't stay up, in his words, I don't care about them, and he doesn't want me around his kids if I don't care about them. If I don't stay up, he is going to break up with me. Am I just being selfish? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Why can't the 2 of you rent a second car for a few days each week so you can leave when you need to? Or why can't he just stay at his mom's for some of the nights? Actually, I'm wondering why he didn't just take a few days off work to stay there and see his kids all day rather than just evenings. Doesn't he have any vacation time? I know I would take time off to spend more time with my kids in that situation. Why can't he stay at his mother's for the week and get himself to work? The visits are still supervised after all. Not the idiot, but surely there is better options that work for both of you. However, if this is the hill he wants to die on, then I suggest you let him. After all, if he can't compromise around the situation with his children, which was of his making, then what else won't he compromise on in the future? Not the idiot, OP. Your partner is willing to put your health at risk, to force you to spend more time there than you can, because of your health. While he is supposed to care for his kids, not at the expense of your health. He is being totally unreasonable, because he can spend all the time there he wants. Why should you have to be there every second? Partner is being very unreasonable. Has he done this before, with other instances? Dismissing your concerns and not being willing to compromise. I would think very carefully if there are other red flags. Any partner who would put your health at risk is not someone compatible. I, 23, was invited to an outing with a few of my friends from college. There were 8 girls including me and 4 guys including my boyfriend. Only one of them was our friend. The other 3 were dating one of us. I invited my boyfriend, 23, fake name Noah, to come with us, since everyone made it clear they were fine with him coming. They liked him, as we've been dating for 3 years and they all knew him. He accepted and was happy. The day of the outing I was getting ready when my boyfriend walked in. I was wearing my favorite dress, which had spaghetti straps. It wasn't too short or anything and didn't show any of my cleavage. He said something along the lines of "You look nice," and left the room. We got to the outing, which was about an hour away. We went in and saw everyone and was happy for a while. That's until my friend David, 24, showed up. He was the only male friend in the group that wasn't anyone's boyfriend. Noah instantly got quiet and stayed around, close to me. Every time David got close to me, Noah would huff and puff but not say anything else. I found this odd because he was close to David in the past but didn't say anything. Eventually, Noah pulled me aside. He said, "Why would you wear that if you knew David was coming? You need to go home and change." I was taken aback since he said it was fine earlier. I'm not driving 2 hours total just to change my dress. I told him. Yes, you are. I don't like you wearing that dress around him. He called me a few rude names which I returned with, "You're being a creep, honestly. You're not my dad, stop dictating what I wear," and walked away from the situation. Noah stormed out and took the car home, and a friend who lived nearby said she'd give me a ride home after hearing what happened. Alright, cool, problem solved. We enjoyed the rest of our outing and David never made any weird remarks or looked at me weirdly. When I got home, Noah gave me the silent treatment. He told his parents, who are saying I'm an idiot, which is why I'm making this post, but most of my friends disagree. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot and run. If he wants to dictate what you wear, force you to change outfits, because oh Sonder there happen to be other males around, and finally starts to involve other people to gain leverage on you before you had the chance to talk about what could have been a minor disagreement, he'll become toxic sooner or later. He starts with what you are allowed to wear around males. Next, he'll slowly single out friends that don't agree with him and create situations in which you are at fault and he's your victim. Get away while your friends are still yours. Not the idiot. He doesn't have the right to tell you what to wear, get weird about you being around single guys in a group setting, or calling you names. Those are all really weird, juvenile behaviors. If he's insecure about you possibly cheating on him, that's something he needs to address with himself if he's going to lash out at you instead of just telling you his fears. He treated you like you were his property or underlined to order around. Not cool at all. Not the idiot. This isn't how your partner is supposed to handle a situation like this. If he doesn't like David, fine, but he shouldn't take it out on you. And leaving you 2 hours away from home. Is he serious? Does he care about you at all? That better not be your car he took without your permission. But also getting his parents involved instead of talking to you. Yikes, are you dating his parents? If he's old enough to live away from his parents, he's old enough to fight his own battles. My 31 brother, 34, got diagnosed with cancer 8 months ago. His ex-wife divorced him in the middle of his treatment and he had to move in with my parents so they could take care of him. He has 3 kids with his ex-wife and she had full custody using the excuse that he couldn't look after them due to his cancer. To be honest, I never got along with her. She kept limiting visitations with the kids, which caused my brother's mental health to decline. Her excuse was that he must have had no time to see them anyway. His health declined greatly for the past month, and he stopped treatment and stayed on pain medication. Right before he died, he kept asking to see the kids. I called his ex-wife many times but no reply. I sent her texts telling her what was happening, but all I saw was read but no reply. I reached out to her family but got nowhere. I drove to her house but she didn't open the door for me. She was in there but didn't open the door for me. It was a horrible day. My brother was restless and devastated. I can still remember his last words clearly. He was saying, "I gotta go get the kids. I gotta go get the kids." I felt so much anger and felt so helpless. I tried reaching out to his ex-wife till the very last hour but to no avail. After his passing, she posted a FB post about him, took a video of herself crying over his death, and started publicly inviting family and friends to his funeral. My family barely had time to grieve, let alone look at what she was doing. At the funeral, I saw her and family and friends coming. I don't know what happened to me. I just lost it and confronted her. I exposed what she did before my brother died and how she deprived him of seeing his kids and saying goodbye. Her friends and family were in disbelief, but I laid out in detail everything that happened and they were appalled. Some even started shaming her right there and then. She broke down crying, saying I humiliated her and turned her own friends and family against her in the midst of her grief. I had her leave and silence took over. My family later said that while I was right to be angry, I had no right to make a scene and should have dealt with it later instead of disrupting everyone's grief, including hers and the kids. I'm not sure whether I screwed up or not, but the fact is that I felt so much rage after seeing my brother basically begging to see his kids one last time and not having his wish. Not the idiot. Also, midst of her grief, she treated him like rubbish in his last few months and didn't even let him see his kids. If you treat someone that way, it's unlikely you'll grieve their passing. She sounds like a Disney villain, to be frank, and I'm glad that you showed her up to her friends and family. As for the kids, who knows what she told them? Maybe that their dad didn't want to see them. At least now they know how much he really did love them and think of them first, right up till the end. She only cried because she was called out in front of other people. I doubt this woman has any shame or any heart. Not the idiot. People have short memories, and the ex-wife was capitalizing on sympathy when she behaved like a heartless shrew. She could have made your brother's last days peaceful by bringing the kids around, and she didn't. She does not get to play the grieving widow after denying a man a last visit with his kids. She deserved to be shamed. She deserted your brother when he needed her the most and then kept his kids away from him when a visit as he lay dying. You did not humiliate her or shame her, she did that herself. You merely put an end to her pathetic performance and lies. Not the idiot. This woman abandoned her husband when he got sick, and then actively kept his children from him, which probably made his health decline worse. What happened to in sickness and in health? Not to mention how horrible it is these kids didn't get to say goodbye to their father. I think it's completely understandable you reacted the way you did. It may not have been the nicest thing to do, but in no way are you the idiot here. My condolences for your brother.